All right, yesterday we started talking about how to infer. And we just talked about, Ishan, that inferring is just a really fancy word that means to figure out a word that you don't know. Okay, Emily? So if you come to a word as you're reading and you're like, that's a really hard word. Now you have strategies to help you figure it out. We know that what can you do to help yourself figure out the meaning of a word? We know that we can do what? We can go back, and read. That's right. We can also make sure that we pay attention to the words. We can look at our pictures. When we see pictures and when we really study them, get on our magnifying glasses and look at them closely, we can find lots of clues to help us figure out those words that we don't know. And today, we're going to talk about how we use our schema. And we've been touching a little bit on the word schema. And we know that schema is that magical power that comes from right here. And that my schema is different than your schema. And this reader's schema is different than that reader's schema. And that's okay because we all have different families. We all lived in and grew up in different houses. Maybe we're even from different cities and states and even countries. So it's okay to have different schema. Now, yesterday, we were visiting with the book, Where Are You Going, Magnoni? And we came to a lot of words that were unknown or unfamiliar to us. But guess what? We did not let that stop us because we know that we have strategies to help us figure out those unknown words. Like when we came to words like bush pig, we were like, what's a bush pig? But you know what we did? We were able to infer the meaning of bush pig. And we decided that a bush pig is a pig that lives in the forest. And we figured it out because we used the pictures, we used the words, and we go back, and read. That's right. And then we had that really tough word called baobab. And it was talking about a kind of tree. But we had never heard or thought about a baobab tree. But we were able to really figure out that it is a large tree that grows where Magnoni lives. And we figured it out by using pictures, words, and rereading. We also found the word forages. And boy, was that tough because it said, a bush pig is foraging. We were like, foraging? Or forages? What in the world does that mean? And because you guys are so brilliant, you were able to turn and talk and completely figure out exactly what the word forages means. Y'all decided that it was finding and eating food off of the ground. And you did it by using your pictures and your words and rereading. Now today, I'm going to I want to teach you about really how to use your schema. When you read something, Evan, that really doesn't make a lot of sense, or when you read something where you just find a word and you're like, I'm not really sure what that word means. Today we're going to be reading a story, and the title of the story is Caribbean Dream, and the author and illustrator is Rachel Isadora. Let's read. That first picture. Where morning meets light, we rise. Where morning meets light, we rise. When I come to that word right there, rise, I'm wondering, what exactly does that word mean? I've heard it before, but right now I'm going to show you how I use my schema and my pictures and my words to figure out exactly what the author is trying to tell me right here. Where morning meets light, we rise. Well, guess what? You know, I decided that schema is kind of like having file folders inside of your brain. And whenever your magical power or your magical schema comes on, it's like taking a file folder right out of your noggin and opening up. And I thought, you know what? because it's magical, I bet there's a little bit of magic inside of that folder. And that we think a lot in pictures. And so whenever I hear the word rise, my schema immediately comes on. And this is what I think of. I think of how the sunshine comes into my window in the morning and it wakes me up right out of bed. So when I reread these words and it says, where morning meets light, we rise, I bet they're talking about when the sunshine comes up, they get up in the morning. And you know what else? When I really look at my picture of these beautiful children, see how each of them looks like there's a reflection? I bet that that's the reflection of the sun as they're looking out their window. That's what I infer that word rise means. It means to wake up, to get up in the morning. Let's keep reading. Where friends meet friends, we smile. Where sound meets color, we hide. Where waves meet sand, we swim. Where sun meets water, we fish. Where sun meets water, we go back and reread those words again. Where sun meets water. Does that mean when the sun comes up? Or does that mean when the sunshine is shining down onto the water and you can see the reflection? Well, I immediately turn on my schema and I start thinking about my file folder that I have about fishing. And this is what my memory thinks of. This is what my experience and my schema remembers. I remember being in Mexico. And I remember fishing with Coach Timmons. And I remember how when we were out there fishing and looking and exploring and discovering new things, that we noticed how the sunshine always reflected and met the water. This is also what I remember. I remember it being a lot of fun.
But you were a kid. No. Oh,
That's me. That's me. You're right. All right. Let's keep going. Where sea meets sky, we sail. Where wind meets hill, we run. Where rain meets earth, we splash. Where music meets heart, we sing. Where song meets soul, we dance. Where years meet story, we see. Where years meet story, we see. Let's study those words for a second. Where years meet story, telling a story, we see. Let me look at my picture. I see a woman who looks like she's older. I see a woman who is probably telling a story to these children. And I bet that whatever she's telling them, they're able to see right inside of their minds, because I bet they have on their mental movies as she's talking. And immediately my schema activated when I was trying to figure out exactly where years meet story we see. And I thought, my file folder came out, and I thought of my grandma. Because my grandma was the best storyteller ever. She used to enchant us all with her stories about her life and meeting my grandfather and my father growing up and how wild he was and how sweet my aunt was. And right here, this is a picture of my grandmother telling my daughter a story. And so right here, I was able to infer that these words mean, even though they sound kind of like, just a little bit confusing, I bet that this woman is probably just like my grandmother was. And she's telling these children stories. And they're able to see what she sees in her mind, because she's really giving them lots of fun and interesting details. Well, now I want you guys to work on using your schema. And I want the readers in here, as we go back and revisit through our book, I know that there were times where your schema just went, that magical power of yours turned right on. And I want us to do some thinking and some talking about some of those places. Like right here on this, I really stopped and thought about you when I saw this. Because it says, where rain meets earth, we splash. What does it mean when it says where rain meets earth? Because we've gone back and we've reread it now. Where rain meets earth, we splash. But now we need to study our picture. And now we need to use our schema. Think about what we've read, the words, the picture, and our schema. If you think that you can infer what it means when it says where rain meets earth, I want you to turn and talk and share with your friend when I say go. On your mark, get set, go.
It means rain splash, the rain is good.
And what happens when all that rain meets the earth? What do they splash?
Rain, yeah.
Well, how's the mud made? Think about your picture. What's this?
It's called
Great. Please come back in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. I heard lots of really interesting ideas like, it's where the rain comes down and it meets the ground and it makes mud and we get splash in it. And I saw lots of really happy faces thinking about splashing around in mud. Just like they look like they have lots of happy faces splashing in the mud. Now, Ms. Daniels, did you see anyone or talk to anyone that really had a good idea? A way to infer what that means?
Yeah, my little friends over here, they said that their schema was activated. That they remembered that one time they got to play in the rain, in the puddles, and I told them how I got to do that too. And they all said that when it rains from the sky, it's the ground. But that's the earth.
That's awesome. Mrs. York, did you talk to anybody that you want to share?
My friend over here said that one time she went to the ice cream store with her brother and her daddy, and it was raining, and they got out and they splashed in puddles on the way into the store.
Touch your nose if you've ever, where rain meets earth, we splash. Have you ever done that just for fun? Touch your nose if you've ever done that just for fun. Very cool. Let's read another one. And I think you're going to have lots of schema about this page. Where song meets soul, we dance. Where song meets soul? A soul? What is a soul? What is a soul? And what happens to your soul when you dance? Turn and talk. You think so? Is what you're inferring that how they're doing? Oh yeah. Yes, exactly. Good job. All right, readers, you guys are awesome. Come back in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and 0. I love how this reader came back immediately, crisscross applesauce, sitting up straight and tall. Your eyes are right here. I would like this friend to please share with us what he inferred about what soul means.
That means it's inside you, it's invisible, and it's controlling you inside your body.
Your soul is what is inside you. It's the thing about you that you can't see. How does your soul feel when you dance, Reader?
Happy.
It feels happy?
Excited.
Excited? All right. Friend, what were you thinking? Like, you told me that what activated or what came on?
My schema came on because just a minute ago we danced and we had and I really liked the music, so I started dancing a lot.
Very cool. So we danced a minute ago, so everybody's schema should have been like boom, 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 boom. All this magical power in the room. You guys were filling up the room with magic. Now, because we just finished dancing, and how did your soul feel while you were dancing?
Very, very good and very loved
You loved it, very, very good, and you loved it. How does your soul feel when you're dancing?
it. Happy and excited.
Because this is exactly what this reader looks like many times when she's dancing right here. Like, she is beyond thrilled. Okay, you guys, as you go out today into our stations and our independent reading time, I want you to remember what we talked about today, what you learned today. Did you learn that you need to, when you come to an unknown word, that word doesn't need to be scary because you have all kinds of skills. You have your inferring skills. You know you can go back, go back, go back and read. You know that you need to look at the words. You know you need to look at the pictures and use your schema to figure out those tough words. Are you guys ready? If you find a book where you had to use your schema to infer an unknown word, to infer the meaning, I want you to take that book and sit it over to the side so we can talk about it when the stations are done. Okay? I spy with my little eye. I've got a really cool book that I think that you're going to like a lot. And we're going to talk about this book. I want us to do one thing. I want us to take a look at the front cover first. And let's look at and talk about what we notice about our front cover. Tell me something that you notice about the front cover.
I noticed that there's a title.
There's a title? Oh, that's a good noticing. Would you like to read the title for us? Good. Chickens on the farm. What else do you notice about the front cover?
There's pictures of chickens.
Oh, she said there's pictures of chickens. Would anyone disagree that maybe we're going to call that something different? Is that a picture or a... Is it an illustration? Is it a drawing? It's a photograph. High five for remembering your nonfiction convention. Well, what does that probably tell you about this book? What does this probably tell you about that book? That's a photograph. What kind of book is it? Is it a fiction or a nonfiction book? It's probably going to be a nonfiction book because it has that photograph on the front. All right, let's go ahead and open it, and I want to take a little picture walk and talk about some words that we see and some things that we think are going to happen in the story. I want everybody to turn to page 4. So use what you know about page numbers and look down at the bottom and find page 4. Good job, Elena. She put her finger right there on it. Thank you, Rita. Good job. All right, there's a word on page 4 that is really, really tricky, and I just want us to visit with that word first. Everybody look right here. Like how you have your eyes right here and you follow directions first time. This is the word built, and it's tricky because that U is totally silent. So this is the word built. What word? Get ready. Built. What word? Get ready. Built. So when you find that word, and I see that this reader right here has found it with her finger, she's going to know not to be stumped by that word because we've already gone on her, and we know that that word is what? What is that word? That word is built. Okay, now let's keep going. Let's go over, and I'd like to take a look at page number 6. There is a word highlighted, and it's probably highlighted because what was the author trying to do there? What was the author trying to do?
Trying to tell us that
Ooh, trying to tell us that that word is important, because we know that when an author makes a type of print just really jump out at the page at you, it's going, I want it, look at me, look at me. In this book it says that chickens have gizzards inside their bodies to crush up their food. What do we have that crushes up our food? What do we have? Our teeth. So does that tell you something that chickens maybe don't have? What do chickens maybe not have? They might not have teeth because they have a different kind of organ that crunches up their food. Very cool. Let's go on, and I want to look at page 9. There's another word on there that's big. Might be a little bit scary, but not for a TD. It's not scary. Look right here at my whiteboard. I even see some friends that have already found it. I see this friend has already found it, and she has her eyes. Who's got their eyes right here on the whiteboard? Okay. This word is gathered. This word is gathered. What word? Get ready? Gathered. Yes, gathered. Now look at the picture, and let's talk about what you think. What are those chickens doing? Think about that word. What are those chickens doing? What do you think, reader?
surrounding the body.
And what does the word surround? What might be a synonym for surrounding? Yes! That was good stuff. That's right. Let's keep going and let's look at page 8. If you look at page 8 right here, just by looking at the picture, what do you think that mama chicken is trying to teach the baby chickens? Just take a moment to look, and when you have an idea, you can put up your light bulbs. Your light bulb came on. What is she trying to teach those baby chickens to do?
To fly.
You think she's teaching them to fly? Does it look like she's showing them how to fly? Think about what is she showing them how to do, maybe. Maybe we might have to infer a little bit from the picture.
How do you concept it?
You think maybe she's teaching them how to eat? Very good. All right. And there's one more word I want us to look at on page 10. Page 10. This is a big word, too. Everybody, look right here at my board. In 3, 2, 1, and 0. This is the word expected. What word? Get ready. Expected. One more time. What word? Get ready. Expected. Very good. And when you expect something, you're kind of looking forward to it and sort of think that it might be coming. It might be getting ready to happen. Okay, so let's close our books. Now it's time to read on our own. And I have a question. If you finish the book one time, are you going to close it up and go, I'm done?
No.
What are you going to do instead?
Go back, and read.
We're going to go back and go, and what if you finish it a second time?
Keep reading.
We're going to keep reading, because every time we read, we become a better reader, okay? Now remember, you're going to be whisper reading unless I'm touching you like this and letting you know that I need you to talk just a little bit louder. Are you ready? Mark, get set, Grace. Oh, I got you.
Do it again.
On your mark, set, go. What did you just do? Remember, if you come to a word and you have to think about it for a second, or you have to work through it, that's not a big deal. When you do that, then go back and read it like talk. Okay? Okay. Start over right here. Exactly what that is. Good job. So you make sure about this word. It's silent. It doesn't say anything after. So it would be taught. Okay. Now that we've worked through that word, what do we need to do? Girl. What are they taught to do? Or what she's teaching them by using Good job. If you look at that word from the beginning all the way to the end, is that word mothers? Or what word is that? Mother. Now that you look through that, what are we going to do? Let's help it out. Let's take the ending off first, and we just look at that base word. You see that tongue? Stick it out at me. Gather, and then gathered. Good. Are you going to keep reading, or are you going to do what? What's your strategy? Go back and read it like talk. And then that one. To go. Say it fast. Together. Now what do we do? Yes. You saw the exclamation marks? So what do you do with your face when you see the exclamation marks? To make it have excitement. Do you make it have excitement only in the last couple words, or do you put excitement in all of them? Let's go back and read it. I want to make sure it's exciting. He's a broom, not a vacuum cleaner. Because what's he doing with that picture? Love those vaccines that you paid attention to your punctuation and you remembered what you said. Good job. It's a big beginning is. And it says, it's the only time you get to stick your tongue out, right? What does that use that in?
Chickens do
And egg, so you got
they have spots
what do we know about IR? So it's they. When you work through that word, you use your strategies. But when you work through a word that moves over the tongue, what should you do? You gotta go back and reread, because when you go and reread the second time, it's like you sound, talk, not so much either. Work through it. You ready? You don't? Okay. Well, let's think about it. You know what B and A makes, and you know that the Y makes some different sounds. I can. What's the other facet? Hot. Taught. So now that we've figured out that word, because that was a tough one, taught, what are we going to do? We're going to go back over.
baby chicks are taught by their mother. Their mother gathered the chicks.
Focus on your book.
Look at
the whole word. Gather. Now we should go back to
we use blue, not a vacuum cleaner.
So it's two. Together makes together. So, are you going to turn the page, or are you going to do a good reading strategy? Yes. Together. Good. Okay. All right, love speakers, come back. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. You know what that's all you're doing? And you were blowing my socks off with? My goodness gracious, you were using your strategies, you were using picture clues, you were using your framing strategy, breaking down those hard words, and nothing was stumping you. I'm very proud of you. This is something that I noticed that almost each and every one of you was doing. When you came to that hard word, and you kind of got stuck and had to work your way through it, instead of going, go back, and reread, you were reading on. But we don't ever want you to do that. When you come to a word and you have to break it down and stretch it out and then put it back together, immediately you must go back to the beginning of the sentence and reread to help you really work through that word and make your reading sound like you're talking. So I want everybody, I believe, to turn to page 9. Let's find page 9 in our books. There was a really, really tough word. I didn't see anybody get frustrated. I just saw everybody doing everything they could to figure it out. The reason why this word has come up is actually the word that the author wanted you to really pay attention to. So if you're looking at page 8, I'm sorry, it was page 8, and you find the word you think the author wanted you to pay attention to. I'm immediately seeing this reader and this reader find a word that's in yellow. It's highlighted. Where is it? Do you see it out? You see it? Okay. Now, when we look at that word, that G and that H are completely silent. We don't hear them say anything. And so everybody had to work through that word. So when we worked through it, what did we decide that word was, Christina? It was the word taught. What word is that? Get ready? Taught. Everybody look it with your eyes. Touch it with your fingers. What word was that, everybody? Get ready? Taught. Now, when we get done working through that word, maybe even inferring what it means, we need to do what first? We've got to
go back back and reread.
So let's do that now. Let's pretend we're going to use our imagination that we just got stuck on that word like we did when we were reading. Now, everybody show me what you're going to do with your finger. Whoa. Right back to the beginning of where? Of that sentence. All right, show me where the beginning of that sentence is. Let's all go and reread this one together. And you know what I want to hear everybody doing? Do I want to hear this? Baby, chicks, and then we all fall asleep because we're using our really boring voices. No, I want to hear your exciting voice, and I want to hear your exciting voice, and yours, and yours. Are you guys ready? Okay, here we go. Get ready. Read.
Baby chicks are taught by their
mothers. Ready for your interview? When we come to a word that we have to work out, that we have to stretch out, that we have to frame, that we have to figure out using all of our strategies, what are we going to do, Nathan? We're going to go back and reread. What are we going to do?
Go back and reread.
What are we going to do?
Go back.
What are we going to do? Yeah. Are we going to do that sometimes, or are we going to do that all the time?
Sometimes, all the time.
All the time, every time, because it makes our voice, we get to go back and we get to use a fun voice and we get to make it sound like talk. Okay? Fantastic. Love you. Love you. Love you. Okay, now you guys need to take your book buddies, switch out your books for a minute, you can keep this one, okay, till next